Hello there. Wanted to do a short video for you about stops and my use of stops, how I teach the use of stops, how I trade using stops myself. It's something I get asked a lot about, get lots of emails about it, and all these emails have one thing in common, the great stop misconception. Before I go any further, I just want to preface the rest of this video by saying that what I'm going to talk about is obviously my own view, how I trade. There are other ways of trading equally as valid, perhaps more so. It's not for me to say. So all I can do here is show you how I use stops and my view on the way that they should be used. So with that said, let's look at the great stop misconception. People tend to think that stops are a way of getting out of a trade, of exiting a trade. As far as I'm concerned, that is completely wrong. Stops are not exits. Exits from trades should always be, as far as possible, manually done. Stops are hard and fast rules, whereas trading is pretty much an art form. We have rules, but I tend to think of them more as guidelines, really, not hard and fast rules. So if you've got a guideline in your trading strategy suggesting that you should exit based on this guideline, but the market is actually telling you, hang on a minute, you know, this is going for it, there's more money on the table, more to be taken out of this trade, then you want to override that guideline. You want to stay in the trade. Now if you're using stops, that's a hard and fast rule. They're going to take you out of a trade whether you want to be taken out or not. So stops are not exits. So what are stops for then? Well, these are the main reasons why I think stops are necessary and should be used. The first one is if your computer crashes. Obviously if you're in a trade and the computer's crashed, you can't get out of that trade. If the market turns against you, you need some way of protecting your position, protecting your losses, and that's why we would use a stop. In a similar vein, if your computer blows up, maybe a more extreme example, but it does happen. If the power goes off, same thing, you've essentially lost access to your trading platform, your account, and you can't exit a trade manually. I would say on that really you should be using, anyone who's serious about trading, some kind of power backup, whether it be uninterruptible power supply, or my preferred solution, just use a laptop to trade from because you've got a battery in there. But either way, sometimes the power goes off, and even if you've got the biggest UPS in the world, if someone knocks the plug out the back of the machine, then that ain't going to save you. And the other eventuality is if your internet connection goes down for whatever reason. That's probably the most common one, depending on where you live. Internet connections do break. So you need some way, as I say, of protecting you, getting you out of a trade if it goes horribly wrong, and you've got no way of exiting manually. If you've got a stop placed in the market, then that's your protection. So what we're saying essentially is that stops aren't there to be used as exits. Stops are there to be used as emergency exits. They're there just to get you out if things go horribly wrong. So let's have a look at a couple of examples of where you might place